first episode, second season.
Season 2, what's
season
up?
Season 2, welcome back, you guys, to Season 2 of Just a Thought podcast. Conversation, a podcast about community conversations, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Just a Thought 845, welcome back, Season 2. Here we are. My name is Ashton.
And I am your host, Q. And we have two lovely people. They are not our guests today, but they are part of our specialty guests that we have. Our first definitely is Chef Santiago. He is our sponsored dinner for our pre-show dinner.
Let's talk about it.
Yes, if you see his logo, he is the one that provides. So as you guys all know, we always have a pre-show dinner for our guests, and of course the team. But and we have someone who definitely sponsors, so we could be able to get their business seen and heard by the community, right? Am I wrong?
Preach.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Chef.
I'm a co-owner and I'm the executive chef at Tuxedo Culinary Arts. We're located in Tuxedo, New York. Basically, we cater all your needs from continental to commercial, and weddings, bar mitzvahs, quinceañeras, you name it, we do it. So
that's amazing. So how can people find you how was the food? I didn't get to eat, so can everyone tell me how the food was?
The
Ashton was
chicken
eating while
good.
we were setting up.
Hey, y'all had a chance. Woody didn't get to it yet, but yeah, the food was delicious, absolutely phenomenal. The chicken was slamming and fully cooked. All right, so
what you gotta say about it, Max? Because you said it was good.
Yeah, it was good. I'm definitely going to take a trip up to Tuxedo. That's where they are.
All right, so tell us where can people find you if they can't make it to Tuxedo?
well, right now we're in the process of having a location set in stone, but we do cater like delivery to your service. So if you have a certain location, we're willing to go the extra mile and go to where you gotta go.
awesome.
It's not just like one location. We're in the process also getting a food truck, so that's gonna help us deliver to all your locations.
Okay,
Let's
and
talk
what's your contact information?
Right now, you can reach me at 845-274-8253. My name is Santiago. You can text it, call it, or you can email me at tuxedoculinarys@yahoo.com. So.
And there you guys have it.
All right, and we'll put that info down in there later too.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Yes, we will. And then we have our second special guest. I'm gonna let Ashton, because you guys been working together on this, so I'm gonna let him take
All right.
the reins.
Well, definitely our next guest, and as well as our artist of the week, is Max Garcia. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, what it is you do, and how you got started.
So I'm a Rockland native, grew up in Spring Valley, and I've always been interested in Black history. So right now, the piece that they're going to show is on Mount Moore Cemetery,
Nice.
which is right in the Palisades Mall, so we'll get into that. And I studied African Studies in college, so that's kind of what took me down that route.
Wow.
And I also do personal training, so Beast Coast Fitness.
Yes.
So, but right now we're focused on Black History Month, and that's what the video will be about.
Wow, we forgot to say Happy Black History Month. It is Black History Month. Hence our uniform today. We wore a whole uniform for this. It is Black History Month. And I am really excited, definitely, when you guys told me about the cemetery. First thing first, when I heard about the cemetery, I'm not going to give you all the secrets because it's in the video. I was pretty shocked that it was right there and we did not know this information about it. So I am actually really excited. Go, Ashton. You got anything to say about your specialty video?
No, definitely just Max. So just tell us where to check you out at. I know your Instagram is full of facts, historical facts, and things like that. So I mean, if you're looking to figure out what's Black in Rockland County, definitely check out Max. And what's your handle? Let's talk about it.
Yes.
So it's to the max _56. But I also want to work on getting a YouTube, so it'll be a place to see all of the different stories that we want to work on. Me, Ashton, Majeen, whoever wants to help us. So it'll be easier to just see that YouTube page and see the episodes. Nice. So I'm working on that. So the first episode, Mount Moore Cemetery, will go there as a place to view it. So we'll try to get that going.
Season 2, we're just getting bigger and better, baby.
All right, Mount Moore Cemetery uncovered.
All right, I'm ready. So excited. Artist of the week. just give us a second while he gets the video together. So we'll just chat a little bit while we're waiting for our tech Woody to get together. In terms, I don't want to give too much of the video because I know.
What made you choose?
That was going to be.
Mount?
Wow, how do you know? How do you know? Go, answer.
So, it's something that I've heard about growing up. I never, again, like everybody else, you drive past it, you don't really see, you don't really know what's going on. And what really drove me to make more content and talk about Black history, aside from George Floyd, aside from Black Lives Matter, aside from everything going on, was the passing of my father, who him and my mom always were the ones informing me and telling me stuff until I grew up. So now, as I'm just going to the mall, I'm like, I might as well use my platform to start talking about these things, because, you know, a lot of people our age, they don't see it, they don't know what's going on. But as I've seen, there is a good response, and people do want to see it from all different walks of life. They want to see what's going on in Rockland. They want to see Black history. They want to see history. And so it's not really, it's not something that older people just want to hear. Young people do want to hear this stuff. I get a lot of good feedback in the comments, in my DM. So it's definitely something that people do want to hear about.
That makes sense. I'm going to step out for a second because we're having technical difficulties with the video, but Ashton, continue and ask our guests more questions.
Definitely. So, throughout your documentary, I know that you ran into a couple of Black businesses in the area, as well as the Palisades Mall. So, amongst your own Black business, can you tell us a little bit more about how you got started?
So I got started in college when I was playing football, and I was interested in fitness. So, you know, we started the business, and I just started coming home a couple summers, training people, started, you know, kind of low key. And then, you know, I decided to get my certification, take it a little bit more serious, get a logo, and, you know, get into really training people. So, you know, once your sports career, whatever it is over, you got to figure out something you want to do. So I went into fitness, and I have Beast Coast Fitness, and the B stands for Be Great Every Day, Achieve Success Through Hard Work. And so that's
that was
where
power.
Yeah.
And where did you go to school?
I went to first I went to Nassau because I got a shout out. I went to community college first. I played football there, and then in Long Island, and then I went to the University of Albany. Shout out to the Danes.
All right, historical Black colleges. Are you in the area as well, Santiago, or are you part of Rockland County history? Or?
I'm more of like Orange County.
Okay, Orange County. That's our neighbors.
Right.
Brothers. Yeah, basically.
Yo, so your video is so long that it kind of lagged a little bit on us, but we got it. It's uploading, so we're just gonna continue the conversation for a little bit because I really want to see this video. I didn't see it yet, you guys. So, but yes, I heard you were asking where everybody grew up. Where are you from, Santiago?
Originally, I'm from Astoria, Queens.
Oh, you're from Queens.
Okay.
Okay. So Rockland people, born and raised in Rockland, right?
Yeah.
And you're not from Rockland. You're not from Rockland.
I was out there in Queens a little bit though, so I know the area.
Okay, cool.
When I was going to Nassau, so I know Queens, yeah.
So what made you come to Rockland?
Actually, my good friend Brenda Logan was she's the one who introduced me to her. We used to work at the Sheridan Mall together, and we built a beautiful friendship out of it. And she's a great woman. So.
Let me tell you about this woman named Brendel Logan Charles. We're gonna bring her on next month, though. That's why I don't really want to tell you much about her, but she's a power,
figure,
a force, a figure, all of the above.
Yes,
I can't wait for you guys to really find out who she is. For those who don't know, right? All right. So, what else were you asking while our video is still?
Just kind of getting into it, like trying to figure out what it is these individuals do within Rockland, Max, Santiago, how it is we can get them to cater to or rather cater to them as the NAACP, as the PAL, as the podcast.
Well, one of the things, I'm going to start getting into some of the conversation we're going to have with our guests. The episode Hidden Gems was basically created between Ashton and I because we just feel like there's a lot of hidden gems in Rockland that are Black and brown owned that a lot of us do not know about. Not only just owned, but also people, organizations, or just monuments, or just things that were pioneered by our people. And yet a lot of it is still being hidden or not even taught about in the school systems, or even, I'm in organizations now where they're trying to teach us about the history of Rockland, and they're still not pinching exactly what we really want to learn about the history of Rockland.
Truth shall come to light.
So that was one of the reasons why, especially with Black History being the prominent month for our people, I just feel that we need to do a little bit better of a job recognizing our artists and our local talent and our local businesses and our organizations and our history of our people, because I just feel that once we know our history, what is it that Trotman says?
You're never going to repeat it.
Well, yeah, that part. We can't promise that, right? But it's honestly, we can't really do much if we don't know the history. And I just feel like because a lot of us do not really know the rich history of our people in Rockland, we are allowing our town to just be dismantled, if that makes sense.
We got to be proactive. We got to be proactive in the changes that we want within Rockland County. And if you want it to be what you want it to be, you got to speak up. You can't be afraid to say something and reach out to the people in power and the people in office that are actually there to for you. You pay them, they're for you.
Yeah,
so,
they're there for you.
Speak up, call their phones, call their office, and let them know, hey, look, this is what's going on. I want to be heard, and this is what we want to continue here. So I think we got the video back.
We got the video, y'all.
And we're going to jump into that. So
he said 2 more minutes. But I did want to, before we jumped into the video, what areas or what knowledge do you want to know about Rockland? Well, you're a Rockland native, but being new to Rockland, I know you're not that. I know you're probably been here for a while. But what kind of history would you want to learn about? And there's a lot of rich history that people don't even know about in Rockland. What's some stuff that have crossed your mind before between the both of you guys?
So as we were driving here, there's a African American historical website, and I know Willie Trotman and a few other people from Rockland run, and there's a space somewhere around here that it's like one of the only places that Black people are allowed to get water, like during the area, and it's somewhere around here. So obviously I don't know all the facts, but
I didn't even know about that. That's interesting.
Way back, so that's something I want to learn about.
Anything that you want to tap into, Santiago, before we get to the video?
I know you can't pretty much so much everything about it, but I would love to learn the community, just how how they gonna get stronger and stronger by each component. Because honestly, you guys do it's an impact that it's amazing how you guys stay together and you guys do achieve, not just being the sidelines. No, you actually get things done.
That's it. Good things.
Collaboration. That's another point that we're gonna be hitting on tonight. So that's a nugget. That's a nugget. That's a platinum.
All right, y'all. I guess we're ready for this video. What is the name of your video? Well, Max, what's the name of your video?
Mount Moore Cemetery.
Mount Moore Cemetery.
Let's check it out.
To know, do you know about Mount Moore Cemetery?
No, what is it? Whoever is in charge of that did a good job of covering it up because I never even heard of that.
I don't know nothing about it though.
Not even the name?
Not Darkbird. No.
Do you know about Mount Moore Cemetery?
No, I don't. Update me.
Nestled within these hollow grounds lies the echoes of the past, where time stands still in the embrace of Mount Moore Cemetery. Cemeteries were segregated in America until the mid-20th century. Even Black veterans of America's armed forces were dishonored when buried. Today, Mount Moore Cemetery stands as a monument to the twisted logic of racial segregation. But the cemetery of approximately 100 veterans and civilians also serves as a symbol of perseverance and defiance. On July 7th, 1849, James and Jane Benson sold the land to William H. Moore, Stephen Samuels, and Isaac Williams, Board of Trustees of the Mount Moore Cemetery. The land was considered sacred ground to the Black community in Rockland County. That was until it became profitable. I imagine that these Black soldiers would have thought that in death they would have eternal peace. But here they are still fighting beyond the grave against a giant. And that giant happens to be one of the largest mega malls on the East Coast. Owned by Pyramid Company, the mall now has approximately 20 million shoppers per year. But let's take it back to understand how all this happened. So we're headed to the Martin Luther King Center in Spring Valley, New York, to talk with someone who knows all too well about taking on a giant. So what's your name and your title here?
Willie Trotman, and I am president of Spring Valley branch at the NAACP.
Willie Trotman was also president of the Spring Valley NAACP when they won a landmark case of racial discrimination against the East Ramapo Central School District. What's the story with the Palisades Mall in connection to the cemetery?
So as the story goes, one Saturday, people from Pyramid Company came and had breakfast with Dave Smith and Hezekiah Easter, who was a legislator at the time.
Hezekiah Easter Jr. is not only a social justice activist, World War II veteran, but the first African-American police commissioner and elected official in Rockland County under the title of Deputy Mayor and Board of Trustee member in the village of Nyack. Whether it was the soldier in him or the social justice activist at heart, Hezekiah Easter Jr. is the one who led the charge against the giant.
Well, I became president in 77 until about 87. 10 years later, the Pyramid wanted to buy that cemetery area because they had made a deal with Tom Dexter and bought all the properties around it, and they were going to put this large mall in this $200 million mall. So they approached the Cemetery Association to see if they could buy the cemetery plot because they wanted to move. They said they were going to move the cemetery from there to another position, or maybe about a quarter mile away. But we decided that that was sacred ground. You couldn't really move those graves in. They'd been there for years.
The Palisades Mall would have that entire area. And they said, no, that area flooded. And it was a great choice. It was a wise choice because even today it floods. Really, really bad floods.
Countless hours spent of digging up public records, calling local officials, and negotiating with the Pyramid Company, Hezekiah Easter Jr. and the other board members finally got the historical landmark certificate, which was a big win. This not only means that a Black cemetery will be recognized on a public stage, it means this land will not be able to be dug up or moved by anyone. As we continue our journey through time, our investigation took us to Nyack Public Library to uncover some hidden gems. The recorded presence of African Americans in Rockland County began at the same time that the Europeans arrived in the region. African slaves, free Blacks, were part of the Dutch community that settled here in 1687. According to the census records from 1723, nearly 1/5 of the 1,244 inhabitants of the county were African slaves.
And so from that time on, it was utilized as the colored cemetery because of segregation, etc. Back during segregation, remember black people were not allowed to be with white people. So they were their own regiment, and that's where they come up with the 9th and 10th Cavalry. They were at West Point. So the guys that we knew, one lived in Spring Valley and one lived in Highland Falls. But we found that a lot of veterans are in the cemetery. A lot of people from the surrounding areas in that cemetery.
With further research, we were able to find some of the prominent figures buried here. The cemetery holds Civil War veterans like Logan Lafayette, who was part of the first all-African-American 54th Regiment based in Massachusetts, which was also honored with the film Glory, an Academy Award-winning film starring Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman. It also holds Spanish-American, World War I, World War II, and Korean War veterans like Henry Cook Jr., who died in combat and attended Nyack High School, and Hezekiah Easter Sr., who was Hezekiah Easter Jr.'s father, which is also why this land was so personal to him. On March 13, 2007, Hezekiah Easter Jr. was laid to rest beside his brother and father. The man who saved the cemetery is the last man buried in Mount Moore. A parking structure and the facade of box stores loom in the distance, held at bay by a soldier and statesman who will forever keep his silent and solemn vigil over these hallowed grounds. With the mall facing some financial struggles, cracking foundation, and the vandalization of the cemetery, it seems as if these black souls buried amid the brick and mortar are crying out for justice. Because if the Pyramid Company developers had their way, this sacred burial ground would have been destroyed. But within the darkness, there is light, with a few locals forming the Mount Moore Cemetery Association of Friends. They're able to continue on what Hezekiah Easter Jr. was doing and take care of this historical landmark of a black cemetery. We also decided to highlight some black-owned businesses inside the mall to highlight these hidden gems, but to also inform them of this black history.
How are you? My name is Dee, and I'm the managing partner of Red Craft in the Palisades Mall.
Name's Miller. Co-owner of New York is the nationality. Rockland native, you know. Got the store. My boy right here, Gangster. Feel me? Started a brand up in the town. Now we got a store. Started from the bottom, now we here. Come support us. 3rd floor. Palisades Mall. Right next to Charlie's. You know where the...
So what's your name?
My name is Manny. Our brand, New York is a nationality. We've been doing this for 6 years. Rockland County, New York.
So you guys have a local business, you know, young guys started up. Glad to see you guys are in the mall now.
Thank you.
So where do you guys see your business, you know, in a couple of years growing and expanding?
Definitely growing and creating a bigger community, because I feel like we've been able to do that for the 6 years that we've been doing this. So definitely just be more part of the community, expand into other areas in New York.
Hello, how are you? What's your name?
Hi, my name is Chad. How are you?
I'm good. And where are we at right now?
Palisades Mall. Like almost, this is my store. Time to close.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you're like, you know, you don't want some clothes, feel free to come by.
Dollars to help, you know, renovate it after they found out what happened. You know, because, you know, we got to support our black people. We see black business here. So, you know, that's it.
So it's like a monument.
Just like the cemetery braving the storm of injustice and erosion, we must all stand fast and stand strong for what's right.
Now I know about Mount Moore Cemetery.
Now I know about Mount Moore Cemetery.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that the mall is finally doing their part and acknowledging the cemetery, because that's very important. especially because they're veterans and African American minority veterans. So as long as the mall continues to do their part, it makes us very happy to be a part of Palisades Center. Now I know about Malmore Cemetery. Spread the word.
If you don't know where you've been, then you don't know where you're going. In order to know where you're going, you gotta know where you've been. And so, and I guarantee you, if most of us look back in our history, we can find somebody that we can be very, very proud of, and that go like, yeah, and it makes you hold your head up.
Wow, what a documentary! That was basically a full documentary. Mm-hmm. You guys, you did your work.
That was Max. That was all Max with all the editing and everything.
You know what?
That brother went to town.
I cannot wait to see what he does every month. That is going to be the thing. We are definitely going to keep you guys on every month. We are going to get a new episode. I mean, yeah, a new documentary, not episode.
Yeah, we're going to definitely tap into Max and see what he's got cooking up for new documentaries.
For March, right?
The hidden gems of Rockland.
All right, now we got our main guest of today. So first thing first, I was just schooled on your name. I've been calling you...
Butchering?
I've been called... You know what?
It's okay.
Reverend Dr. or Dr. Reverend Brandon McLaughlin, and they said no. Miss McLaughlin.
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 But it's okay. You, however you get it out, it'll be all right.
No, my brother. My brother. You did. If we can say,
yeah, McLaughlin. Yep, Reverend Dr. McLaughlin. You close.
Yeah, like the key Glock. Like he gonna shoot you with the Glock.
and when I was growing up, they would say Glock. That's how you remember.
Honestly, I think I'm with McLaughlin. I have lists. And I had a speech impediment. I worked on my speaking over the years.
Now she's a host.
That song.
The things that you could do.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Brandon, Reverend Sir.
That's Pastor Mac, man.
Yeah, Pastor Mac.
Pastor Mac.
Pastor Mac.
Yep.
Ooh. M-A-C?
M-A-C. Yep.
Okay.
My brother.
And you want to introduce the pretty lady next to you?
Alrighty, we got Nakaya from Spark Hill. She is a graduate as well as she studied popular music. Tell us about that popular music.
Yeah, popular music.
So popular music analysis specifically focuses on the trends throughout the centuries. So at some point popular music was jazz. At some point popular music was ragtime. At some point popular music was, East Coast swing. So it literally is the study and the analyzing of basically the history of music throughout the United States and what that carries through anthropologically into each culture.
So. She just history teacher.
Hold on now. Black studies as well.
Yeah, I'm just like we got
double major in both. Yes, so shout out to Medjin. Medjin and I both graduated top of our class, whereas Medjin was all up in the streets doing all the community work. I was in the books, and so. Yeah, Black Studies was the main force of why I went to City College. It was super important to me to go to a school that was truly, New York, a CUNY or a SUNY. I'm a big CUNY advocate. And really important to me to study my people. Growing up, born and raised in Spark Hill, I didn't really get access to a lot of queer history or Black history, and it really was my grandmother who really instilled the importance. We had a portrait of Frederick Douglass in our house. Nice. Massive portrait that I had to look at every single day when I came home from school. So it was a huge, massive force to constantly educate myself.
You got to look at it.
I used to come home and read chapter books of Sojourner Truth, Phyllis Wheatley, Frederick Douglass. Amazing. She was always taking us to different Black museums. She'd have us in the tiniest little house museums in the middle of nowhere to learn about any Black hero that I could as a child. So when I got to college, it was a no-brainer.
Wow.
I thought I had it bad. I had a poster of 100 Black inventors, and I had to go through it. My parents made me pick each one of them people and do a little report on them. That was...
Oh, yeah. I also had a
nice.
assistant principal for a mom, so I used to write essays about Black heroes every summer before I would go back to school.
I'm from the Caribbean. We
What
didn't
you
have
got?
that, so wow, amazing. Well, now this makes me even more excited with our guests, especially with our topic being about hidden gems. As we introduced earlier, hidden gems is one of the biggest issues we're having in Rockland County, where a lot of our peoples are being hidden, or a lot of our hard work is being hidden, and it is falling through the cracks. We don't have a lot of amazing grandmothers to really, or moms to make us count and learn about these things. You have a lot of immigrant parents who come in, and our mindset is school, work, church. That's it. We call it the triple L in Haiti because it's all L's. But literally, that's all we do. So bringing you guys in, let's just bring it back. We're going to talk about your past, present, and future. And we're also going to tap into gems in Rockland for the ones that you guys do know about. And I really want you guys to really tap in today more so about the issues and how can we fix these issues. That's basically our full conversation always, community conversations. So for those, we got a huge lump sum of Nakia. My good, I'm impressed. I definitely would love to learn a little bit more about you, Dr. McLaughlin.
There we go. So I'm the pastor of St. Charles. I come into Rockland, June will be 7 years for me, so it's been a little while. Completely tried to put myself all into Rockland history and all into being a Rocklander and all of that. And so I'm pastor of St. Charles Amy Zion Church. It is an Amy Zion Church, which is called the Freedom Church. It is the church of Harriet Tubman, Search on the Truth, Frederick Douglass. The list goes on of leaders, and even later on, we were part of the Civil Rights Movement. All of that. And so, and then when you think about St. Charles, we have right now we have 6 people on the Hall of Fame for Human Rights in the county legislature building. So it is a church that is very, I have to make sure that I'm doing human rights work as a pastor of St. Charles. And so for me, that's been what I've tried to do since coming here. We try to do our best to get involved in as many community issues that we can. We've written letters. We've gone to places. I've spoken to politicians. And for me, my role as a pastor, especially in the Black church, is to be prophetic. And so what I mean by that is that, a lot of times we hear prophetic, we think somebody just telling you your future. In the Black church, but prophetic is speaking truth to power. And so my responsibility has been to speak to politicians, to speak to those who have resources, speak to those who are in the positions that can help those who have no voice. And so that's what I've been trying to do since I've been here in Rockland, and we hope that we're doing a good job of that, and thankful for you all having me on here to share tonight.
Well, I can say he has, because this Let's Collaborate thing
Yeah.
that you put on MLK Day. I've been getting calls and even people stopping me. Hey, yeah, I want to be on the show. Let's collaborate. Let's work.
You making us busy. What's going on?
That's the job.
That was nice.
It's to speak forth. It's really to inspire community. Because I can't do everything, right? So my job is to inspire those who have the ability. You all are putting this together. This is wonderful. You all have the ability to do that, and so my job is to inspire you all and hope that others will come on and roll with you all and collaborate, and you all continue to put out some great stuff.
That's the goal, and the financial goals as well.
Listen, just tell folk what you need. Just say it.
They say speak into existence. I speak all the time, and it's still like being stopped. It's a roadblock.
We're going to post some things of what we need cash.
That's what I need to do.
Tell the folk who got the money. Listen, I need this.
Okay. don't speak into the air. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, go tell them flat out. I need this money. We're doing this. Help us out. Thank you.
To the Lord.
Help us
there
out.
You go.
We need
That's
help.
Good.
We need you.
We need you. All right, so let's get into the conversation. First question is, we wanted to know what kind of influenced. We already know that you had your grandmother, the history. What was it that really catapult, like, you know what, I'm tired of this, I'm ready to get into the game and I'm ready to make some changes? Ladies first, or would you like?
Truly, I'm a very blunt person.
Love it.
I'm sure, as Pastor knows, for my family, I get it from a long line of very independent thinkers and independent women. Truly, racism. I'm born and raised from Rockland my whole life. I've lived in some areas, but I predominantly almost always lived in South Orangetown. And I was one of 5 black kids in my graduating class. And I believe 2 of those kids moved in from the city. So really there were about 3 of us that grew up with each other the whole time. And it was just very apparent that I was different, you know. So from the very first moment that I walked into class as a kindergartner, you know, constantly having to defend myself, constantly having to defend others from bullying. And I noticed that I wasn't learning anything about myself. And the only time that I was learning about myself was when I went home. So it became a passion of mine. I've always been heavily into history. And coming from a large family of academics, that history was just something that really clicked for me. And by the time it was time for me to look for colleges, I remember that was my biggest force, was like, I have to be able to learn about my history no matter where I go. Like, I know I'm going to have to be taking history requirements. And when I finally got to City College, it was such a moving experience to finally learn about myself, learning about my ancestors beyond just, you know, going to St. Charles, which my family has been a part of for 3 or 4 generations now at this point. My great-grandparents went to St. Charles, so it was always something. It was always something that was very prevalent in my family, but I was like, it's enough for me, but I wanted to really impart that on everyone else. So every class that I took, I was very fortunate that we were always, you know, encouraged to research what we wanted, and every single time that it came time to research, I researched more and more about Rockland. And I made it really like my college work, my college mission, to throw myself into how much research and history can I find about Rockland. And that just became my passion about coming back into the community. And really, it really goes to St. Charles and my family, and having such a strong prevalence of the black community in Spark Hill to really catapult me to where I am today.
I was like, she's so powerful, you guys. She got Spark Hill tattooed.
I did.
All right, Dr. McLaughlin.
She gets it very honest. Her grandmother was over our history library at the church, and still to this day, when we do our church day and celebrate, she'll bring out all of the different history, cardboard stuff. We had everything. We had a whole chapel full of stuff from our history. So she gets it very honest. Yeah,
that's great. Just came from grandma's attic. Got the whole church history.
Cardboard, like big old fold outs, like, I mean, ready to go.
Yeah, it's all there ready. Listen, we pull it out whenever she's ready to do it, and all of us have to help her get it down.
And put it back.
And then put it all back up. Yep. But she does an amazing job, and so you can see she gets it very honest. But for me, I grew up, my mother was in the military, so I went to a lot of different places. So I did get to experience when I was in elementary school, I had a similar situation. There was 2 children of color in my class. And so I was treated differently. I actually was sent down to a lower reading class with my teacher at that point. And I was treated so unfairly. I felt terrible. I was with kids and like taken out, all kind of things. And so for me, that's always been one of the things that's motivated me to really think about children who went through what I went through, feeling like you're worthless, or that you're not good enough, that there's something wrong with you. I was dyslexic. We had no idea. We didn't, it just was never, at that time, there was nobody advocating for me in that kind of sense. So for me to, I from that point in my life to now, is what's motivated me to always think about those who don't have a voice and can't speak for themselves. One of the things that really motivated me here in Rockland was when we moved here, walking into my wife's classroom for the first time and being underwhelmed with what the school looked like, and looking at, and then doing more and pulling in more and realizing, okay, I'm in East Ramapo and I'm looking around. I'm like,
I was gonna say, what's the district? What's
well,
the district?
Listen, it's my love. That's my love, though. That's my first. When we got to Rockland, we lived in Spring Valley. We worked in Spring Valley. And so that's my first love of this area. All my food that I eat was in Spring Valley. All of that, that was good food, right? Yeah. And so, but when I got there and I started just looking around, I was like, yo, something's not right. And the more I started getting in, the more people started talking to me, and the more I just got invested myself into figuring out what's going on. So that's really what pulled me in when I was in Rockland. Now, of course, since then, there's been all kind of different issues that go on in this place. But
just note, though, he did notice he saw a change and asked somebody. So please, ask somebody. Ask somebody. They will tell you the truth, and then we can go about some change.
They will sit you down and tell you stories.
They'll tell you so much truth, you'll be like, please stop.
Listen, I got up with Mr. Trotman. And Oscar Cohen, and they had conversations with me to really fill me in on what's been going on in Rockland County, and that's where I was able to start running and really doing the work that we've done at the church to be involved. Especially when her mother was an assistant principal, she would call us up, be like, "Can we need help?" And we was like, "Absolutely, whatever." You
ran, not walked. Y'all said it.
Yeah. I think another importance that I'm gonna humbly brag is. I was surrounded by Black heroes in real time. So like I saw my grandmother, working at Rockland Psychiatric, growing up constantly working with people who are mentally ill and disabled. Mm-hmm. And by the time I got to high school and we're doing psychology classes and people are like, how could you be around people like that? I'm like, I grew up I grew up in the halls of Rockland Psychiatric as a kid. So it was never something to treat people differently, to ridicule. I grew up with, Charles Bullock, constantly, major Hall of Famer in Rockland County history. How many doctorates are now in the church at this point?
We're working on some more.
Right, and as you said, I just grew up with so many Black heroes in real time here in the county, not just my family, but really being raised with that. And I'm so honored now, especially at this point, as we have younger kids coming through, to see that in real time, even with Reverend, Dr. McLaughlin, himself, you know what I mean? While I was going to college, you were working on your doctorate. Yeah. So that was something that was very much pushed, of education or just knowledge in general is just power. That's so cool. Knowledge is power.
If you go to AME Zion, St. Charles. If you go there, just know your students and your kids will get a doctorate.
We're serious.
We got a lot of we were at the celebration and people were getting awards, and there was doctor after doctor after doctor that they accidentally gave out a doctorate.
Listen, Dr. Trotman. Listen, he needs to be honorary somewhere.
Yeah, no,
for us,
y'all hear that?
It's been important. Education is so important, because you think about, like I said, I was mistreated in where I was. So when you're thinking about all these different students that may struggle with reading or may struggle with different things, we want to continue to inspire them, especially the kids at our church. We want to inspire them. You can be a doctor. If I can be a doctor, you can do it. So that's been my thing, to continue to inspire. And so when I see Nakia going higher and higher, it excites me, because then I know we have this generation, then our next generation, we want to inspire them. Because for us as Black people, again, they did not want us to be educated. Because if we were educated, we would free ourselves, not just physically, but mentally. Because when we started to get education, that's when you start to see all these folk not rioting, doing revolts and all those things, because we could think for ourselves. And so they don't want us to have education. They're going to do everything they can to stifle us from being intelligent. And so for me as a pastor and for St. Charles, we always are going to push education. We're going to push it, because we want to make sure that every student feels like they can achieve. And I always pull back to my, like I said, to myself. I got through high school like just by like the grace. I was glad. I was like, yo, I made it.
Y'all hear that? Everybody can be.
Everybody can be a doctor.
Everybody has the potential to be a doctor.
Everybody has the potential. You just got to work. You got to be
persistent.
And for some, truthfully, understand your privilege. Like I went to Tappan Zee High School, and it was a major culture shock to go to school in the city and be like, oh my God, like everybody doesn't get education like this. Like I had my mother advocating for me constantly. You know, I'm someone who's neurodivergent. I grew up with the 504 plan. You know, like it wasn't easy to get through, but I had my mom advocating for me. And that was another thing too, where I was like, how many kids in Spring Valley are, you know, have language barriers or have parents who just don't understand. And it's not that these kids aren't absolutely brilliant. I mean, I work with some of these kids every day, and they are just so brilliant, and they just don't have advocates. Like they just don't have people to really stand in their corner and fight for them for the level of care and assistance that they need. And it's just, it was mind-boggling.
Rockland County growing up, and so what are some challenges and what are some organizations that you work with or that you would like to work with to get over these obstacles throughout the let's say this coming year? Let's just say some organizations. What are some organizations that you're looking to tackle some challenges with this year?
So one organization that we're going to work with, Mother's Day. I think we're doing that again. We'll see how that. But we're working with them as For the Culture. They are I don't know if they're a new organization at this point, but they're probably about 3 years old now, maybe 4. Maybe
I'm a little familiar with them. They were actually part of, I believe, Q's Next Gen festival at one point.
Yes,
they gave away a lot of book bags and things like that.
They do a lot. And we partnered with them last year for a community baby shower. And so we're able to give out, just an amazing event, try to bring some dignity to mothers who may not be treated well, different situations that are going on. We want them to be able to have a baby shower.
Definitely. Like
other mothers, especially for women of color, the death rate is a little higher. So to try to make their pregnancy a great pregnancy, have them not have to worry about where am I going to find diapers, all this kind of stuff. We want to help with that. So For the Culture is a group that we have been able to work with outside. We want to cooperate with as many people as possible. So that's where I'm looking at it.
Nice. All right, Nakai. So I know you have a lot of things going on in the county and things like that. Do you have any favorite organizations that you like to work with?
I'm a little biased as I do work for a nonprofit organization myself. I work with CANCEL, which stands for Right, it doesn't really present a challenge. Some of them, they're like, I'm off the task, to do that. And Candle was literally a response made from parents to offer support groups, activities, and different outlets for kids to really be themselves. And they realized about 5 years into the inception of Candle that the majority of the children being affected in the county by substance use and alcohol abuse were LGBTQ teens. So I specifically work for the Youth Pride Department, and it has grown to such a necessity, and such a niche need for the county. We're the oldest LGBTQ affirming organization in the county. Before the Rockland Pride Center, which I'm so honored to work with consistently. we work with LGBTQ teens and predominantly queer kids of color. For the beginning, I could say like the first like 15, 20 years was predominantly white organization, and I'm very proud to say my executive director is a black woman. My supervisor is a black woman. Almost all the staff are women of color. So it's a mainly women of color led agency with licensed clinicians, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, and I'm a counselor myself. And we literally go to the schools and offer support groups for them. We throw events for them. We throw empowerment retreats for them. We offer like anything that they need. We try to get them resources with. So we work with a lot of great organizations like Center for Safety and Change. We also, with any connections that we can work with the NAACP, any organization that the kids need anything and any access to, we basically try to serve as a hub to get them connected to whatever they need. But our main focus is mental health. So we have a mental health clinic that just opened last year, and we've been able to give a lot of accessible therapy to families. Especially, we have a lot of bilingual therapists. So we also have Haitian-speaking therapists, or Creole-speaking therapists, excuse me. So it's just inspiring in the work that I do, and I'm really honored to work with East Ramapo, Tappan Zee. Like, I genuinely go into every public school and I talk to as many kids as possible every single week.
Wow, so Candle, this is a pretty big organization. What you guys do is beautiful, absolutely. So it sounds like you guys tap into a lot of human rights issues, a lot of mental health issues, and I guess drug related issues.
Yeah, so there's also a program called Teen Intervene, which we are part of. It's a statewide grant to basically, our main focus is beyond mental health is harm reduction. So we noticed that's something that actually works better, to be like, hey, we understand that you're using or abusing drugs or alcohol. Why don't we try to decrease that? And the more that we decrease it over time, you're more likely to not use it, rather than a program that's just going to tell you, stop doing it, quit, don't do this at all anymore. And unfortunately, that's when you see, teen pregnancy rates skyrocket, or you see overdoses skyrocket, versus if you give them a more mental health and therapeutic approach of being like, okay, what are some things we can do to reduce this? Why don't you go to this support group with the other kids? I had a kid come in last week and say, I'm sober. Nice. I had a kid tell me I got rid of all the bottles, I threw away the vapes, and they're 17 years old. Like, nice. They shouldn't even have to go through that at 17 years old, but to consistently have support groups that they can come to and be themselves with, and they're going to be in a space that we're not going to judge them, and we're just going to say, hey, there's no judgment here, it's okay, let's just work through this over time. And it works. It works. It really does.
Awesome. All right, so Pastor McLaughlin, have you encountered any issues trying to resolve any of these obstacles or whatever you have encountered within Rockland County? What kind of walls have you?
I would say, if you think about the biggest barrier is people just not, I guess people's, I don't want to say ignorance, but just not having, an understanding of the different cultures and different people and things of that nature. When if you make a monkey noise, you need to understand a monkey noise towards me as a black person.
Yeah.
You need to understand
it's a different realm.
That's offensive, right?
Way different kind of
and so I think that one of the biggest obstacles for me is just having people understand the different cultures of people in Rockland County. It's very diverse. And so there's differences between being African American and African, or Haitian American, or like we're not all one conglomerate.
Might look a little bit alike.
We look alike. But at the same time, there's differences. Even for me, I'm African American, but I'm from the South. So it's a different mindset of how I approach things, how I taste food, all that is different. And so for me, one of the obstacles that I found in Rockland is just having people who have, I guess, cultural sensitivity towards one another. And for me, it's like I want to try to learn a little bit of everybody's culture, just to have an understanding. And that's not everybody's kind of viewpoint. So I think that one of the biggest obstacles for me is just people having the ability to talk with one another, learn one another, understand why Black history is important. Right, you have in some school boards we've had recently where people have been trying to make sure that we're not teaching Black history. Right, Florida. Florida. I mean, so you want to really. I think those are the biggest obstacles. People not really wanting to understand people's culture, learn who people are, and that keeps us in this loop. Because when you finally learn who I am, then you know I'm not an animal. I'm not a criminal. I'm a human like you. And so I think that that's the biggest obstacle I've seen is that people just really don't want to learn history, don't want to have the conversation to make sure that we learn and can learn who each other are and culture and things like that.
How to fix our mistakes.
Yeah,
how to look back and say, look, we see what happened.
Yeah.
This is where we got to get to.
It happened. Like Black people really are a welcoming group. I mean, we don't seek revenge, which in your mind you think
we got to go to work. It takes too much time. Too much time.
I mean, so I think the opportunity for us to all learn. Yes, slavery happened. Yeah, let's talk about it. I'm not trying to shame you.
Don't tell me it didn't happen, though.
Yeah, but don't tell, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't try to erase it. Don't tell me to get over it. It happened a long time ago. But then we'll have days to celebrate other people's, atrocities that have happened. But for us, it's like, well, you just got to get over it. So I think that we need to have some opportunities to really have dialogue. And one of the things that we started doing, and we got to get back to this at the church, we had a sit down. It was us and a Jewish congregation in Pearl River, and we would have days where we just came to talk.
Beautiful.
And we would learn about each other because we recognize that's an obstacle that's in the way of us being able to do this work. And the more you learn how to work with one another, you learn each other's culture, and you sit down and just have relationships, the easier it is to do this work together.
Love thy neighbor.
Yeah. So that's my skill.
I like that.
Well, there was one thing that you said that I really appreciate about the don't erase us completely. About I'm trying to remember as I was playing around with some of this equipment stuff. Let's try to remember.
The erasure more of our culture, not saying that it didn't happen.
Just
acknowledge it.
Just acknowledge it for what it is.
Continuous conversation.
I lost my train of thought, but we're gonna push forward with it. But one of the biggest issues that I'm realizing is that you would think that they're only doing it with kids, but they're also doing it with adults.
Absolutely.
So now my question is, as they're doing it with adults, how do we fix that? Because now I'm an adult and someone came and told me something, and now someone else comes and tells me something. Difference is when I'm a kid, someone tells me something as a kid, I'll take it for truth. Then someone else tells me, then I'll want to listen. But as an adult, if you tell me something, then you come and tell me, I might agree with him because I like him better.
I think it starts with the kids. I think that's why the kids are so protected in America, honestly. If you look across the states, there's a history lesson. It differs per region. Everywhere you go, there's some textbooks that don't even mention slavery, and there's some textbooks that mention indentured servitude, and then there's some textbooks that go, oh no, they was just black.
Yeah.
They was chilling over there. They was happy over there. Yeah, they was just, they wanted to do their own thing.
Singing songs, skipping yippity doo
Yeah, slavery. What was that? We just brought you unwillingly.
Yeah. It's our history, and I just preached this yesterday. It's important that we tell our history. That's really, and Nakai is proof of, if you tell the history, your children may fight against it. I'm sure she didn't want to go to church every week. She's growing up, but just being immersed in like she said, black leaders, black history, and all of that will give you what you need, because we don't have, and I always say this for African Americans, we don't have a quote unquote flag. I can't point back. I can't be like, well, this is my flag, and I don't have that. So my pride, what gives me a sense of who I am and keeps me going, is my story. And so if you can make sure that my kids don't hear the story, then how do they have a sense of pride?
They didn't fight for nothing.
There's nothing. We're what the media shows us to be.
They don't work. Not that they work so hard, they tired.
No, they don't work. They're lazy. They're criminals, right? That's what you would want to see. But then when you can tell that history, you give us a sense of pride, a sense of what keeps me going, what makes me feel like I need to get up and work, I need to do. So they'll, people will try their best to erase our history, not let us have that pride. Because like I said, there is no flag. I can't point back. I have nowhere to go back to. Like in other North Carolina, like that, but I have nowhere to go back to. And so you have to take that pride in who you are, and that's knowing your story.
That's our gem. That's our history.
I want to actually go back to what my point was for my hardest obstacle as to actually what you said about adults. There's intersections, right? So for me, going to school again as a Black queer person and learning about Audre Lorde was absolutely phenomenal.
Who's that?
So Audre Lorde,
she's like, ooh, I'm excited.
Audre Lorde, it was we learned about some of the James Baldwins of the world, right? This Black gay literary icon. Audre Lorde was one of the first openly Black lesbian literary. When we talk about the wave of feminism that we look at today, she was a major push for a lot of those. When we talk about Black feminism, she's easily the mother of Black feminism, right? So I think sometimes, truthfully, is, sometimes we're our own worst enemy. Truthfully, I think especially as adults, when we have these kids who are so willing to teach you and say, hey, Ma, this is what I learned, I think sometimes we're not very receptive. And I'm very lucky, I've been to a few, St. Charles is my home church and is my pride. But, I've been to some churches all around that were just not willing to listen to what I had to say or to really see me. And truly, you were one of the first people to really acknowledge my story when I came out. I came out to every other community but the church. And pastor was willing to listen to me. For me to actually feel safe to go to church, for me to actually to feel welcome no matter what, that I still had a home. It didn't mean that home closed their doors to me. And I see that a lot for these kids that I work with who would definitely be deep into their faith or even just, feel better about themselves or to go through life a little bit better. There are some of these intersections, there are some of these, blocks put on their back. So they're already Black, that's one block on their back. They're Haitian and speak Creole, that's another block on their back. And then on top of that, they're gay, that's another block put on their back. And then they're trans, that's another block put on their back. And where are they supposed to go? They're supposed to feel proud in their Blackness at home, but they can't feel that at school, right? And then they go home and they also can't feel comfortable with different pronouns. Or they can't feel comfortable, expressing themselves, or just to have these conversations. That there is so much rich history in our Black history as there also is in our Black queer history. And I think that as a community, we need to be willing to hear, even if you don't agree, to really listen. Because your kids need to have a space to feel comfortable in, because that's when you start to see them not proud of their Blackness. We talk, unfortunately, about the queer community being very whitewashed. Well, it's because, unfortunately, they didn't feel comfortable, So it's we have to really address that problem and say, look, I'm at least here with you. I at least see you. I at least respect you. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we're our own worst enemy, and we're wondering why as they get older, some of them aren't really proud of their Blackness, and they're kind of, assimilating themselves. That was a huge issue I would see a lot with, unfortunately, in other areas of the community, of a lot of assimilationist tactics, class issues, and feeling better than other certain Black people, or why are those Black people embarrassing us at these protests? And I would be like, how could you even say such a thing? They're literally arguing and fighting for
Black people.
For us, right? How could you say something like that? It really, and at the end of the day, that's what, unfortunately, white supremacy wants from us, right? They want us to divide ourselves as much as possible. So when we can't sit and say, you're Black and I see you, regardless of what intersections you're a part of, we're feeding into that white supremacy. And I think it's a very big conversation for us to, even now, I think 10 years ago it was hard for black men to even talk about mental health. You know, that these are things, again, used to divide us as a people, that if we don't sit and have these conversations, white supremacy wins at the end of the day, as we're dividing ourselves for all these isms within our own community. And I think that is an issue that I'm very proud is being addressed more and more as we go through every day, like mental health and LGBTQ rights, and just insert rights here that need to be addressed within our community to better show up for us, to not allow white supremacy to divide us, you know?
I would say you put that so eloquently, because I've been speaking on it for the longest about how we in our own community divide ourselves. I'm very vocal, as the people have known me to be. I really don't care about the white and the black and all of that stuff. I am more so focused about us, because the problem is that if we don't support each other, if we don't buy into each other, if we don't do this, we're never going to get anywhere. And what sucks is that it's a lot of us that are in these white rooms that are talking bad about us. Absolutely. And making it seem like, like that is so mind-boggling to me, because I've been in those rooms and I just look around and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stay black and I'm gonna keep continuing.
And I grew up this way. I grew up this way in Tappan Zee. I did there when people would say, oh my, microaggressions. You know, like we talk about that a lot now with my students. The amount of times I would hear, "You're so pretty for a black girl." And I would think that was okay. Like, I would truly, I would think that was okay, that was all right, that was enough. And it took me being in a predominantly, like, just not even black. My city college is considered, still to this day, the most diverse school in the northern region, not the northeast. Across above the Mason-Dixie line, we are the most diverse college in the country, above in the north. Yes, right, yes. And that was a serious driving force as to why I went there, because I told my mother, there's nothing against HBCUs, got nothing but love.
Yeah, HBCUs all the way. Go ahead.
Let me tell you, this is from a Howard family.
I understand.
But I wanted to be in a place that actually challenged just seeing a majority of one race. I grew up, you know, in a predominantly black spaces with family, and I grew up in a predominantly white spaces with school. And I was like, I don't want one or the other. I want it all. And to really be and so immersed in that space and to have these conversations, I was like, wait a minute, a lot of the things I'm saying or that I'm doing are actually really, really racist, like internalized. Like, wait, like actually, no, that was actually really rude. Or some of the jokes that I would make, I was like, wait, like, I'm actually putting myself down in these jokes, and these were things I would say every day. I was like wow, like such a mind-boggling experience to like kind of when you get woke for yourself. Really, I was like,
I had one.
I had to like defend other people. Like, wait, like y'all, we shouldn't say that. Like, maybe we shouldn't be calling each other these things, or maybe we shouldn't be saying that about other people. Like, we need to really, really evaluate ourselves as a people to really carry ourselves. Again, these divisive tactics are regularly used in our own community, and we don't even realize it.
Music.
It's true.
I will say
it's absolutely
true. We have to, when you're in those rooms, and one of the things I realize is that we have to be willing to, first of all, have a relationship with each other to be able to correct one another.
Yes.
And it's hard to correct people when you don't have a relationship with them. Because like when I'm at the, if I'm at a light and somebody beeps behind me, I may get upset. I don't know who they are, they just beeping their horn. I'm gonna be like, yo, why are you beeping your horn at me? If I know my mom's behind me and she beeps the horn, I'm be like, yes, ma'am. I know who's behind me. I'm like, okay, let me just, because I know their intent is not to, they're just trying to tell me, you need to move.
Yeah.
And I think that relationship is something that we lack in our community. Everybody's trying to do their own thing. And without having a relationship and talking with one another, it impacts how we can say, hey, you shouldn't say that in this room.
Right.
Here's how we should go in here thinking we should be on one lockstep together trying to make, trying to get in this room. We're in here with people who have power. Let's not bring ourselves down in this room. Yeah. Let's figure out how we can say this. And I think that because we lack some of these relationships and we're so spread out in so many different organizations without having some opportunities to come together, it impacts our ability to really fix problems.
Yes.
So we have these big problems. We need ideas. How do you fix an entire school district? You need a lot of brain power in a room, and a lot of thoughts and ideas. We need to be putting it on a board. How does this work? Will this work? No, that's not going to work. Will this work? We need a plan, but we need all of our best and brightest in a room that actually care.
To tap into that, I was like, I 100% agree with you, because it's one of the things, hence why we collaborate, Meet Next Gen, and NAACP. My goal, that's been my biggest goal, especially this, for some odd reason, my words of the year. My word this year is relationship. So for me, one of the biggest issues is that, one, when you get too many people in the room, you have too many chefs in the kitchen. The problem that I find, it may be personal to me, is that too many people are trying to be the king or the queen or the I did it because of me. And I just feel like because of that, this is why we all clash. Like, we could all be in the room and have great ideas, and then we go to the New Yorkers. We keep them to ourselves, like, I'm going to keep that and go do that myself because I know it's going to expand better. Or I'm going to call my connections. And I just feel that, well, my question is, how do we navigate those conversations? How do we navigate those individuals? Because we've all been in the rooms with those dominant forces that can make the changes, and if we have those conversations. But how do we eliminate the token winners or the eyes?
We have to start. This is good that you all talk about hidden gems, because some of the greatest people at my church are the ones who don't have titles. And so when we learn how to appreciate not just the ones who have the titles, but the ones who are working in the background, the ones who don't have the title, the ones who don't want to be seen.
With no noise, killing them softly.
Just doing it. There's folk right now, they are like the ones that keep the church going.
Talad, thanks Talad.
Three people got their phone number. Nobody know what they do.
So we gotta bring that pride back of pushing for me, I'm good if I'm in the front. I'm okay. I learned how to function that way, but I also learned how to function in the back. And to push and be like, let them lead this, let them do that. So I think we have to figure out how to bring a pride into. It has to be more about the actual thing happening than me.
Everyone wants an award, wants a certificate.
And everybody wants it, but sometimes it's not about me getting an award. It's about it happening.
Right. Yeah.
If the problem is solved in more black children and more brown children or any child is helped by it, I can. At the end of the day, for me as a believer, for myself, I'm gonna go to God and be like, I did what I was supposed to do. If nobody else noticed me or give me an award, I'm good. And I think that's the problem. We've been so devalued that we overcompensate and want to be overvalued. And so we need to find
Say that again for those who
we've been so devalued that we try to overcompensate and get overvalued now. So we need to just kind of find this medium of, I'm good if I'm in the front, or I'm going to push even if I'm in the back. I'm going to work just as hard in the back as I'm in the front.
If lights is your job, stick to lights. Do lights to the best of your ability. You better make them things strobe. You follow that way.
Listen, if you're a napkin folder, you be the best napkin folder.
We're going to call you to fold napkins at every event. Every event.
They be killing that napkin.
Honestly, I learned that with your wife. I interned with First Lady, Nicole. I'm a performer as well, and I always, being so devalued in the schools that I was at and never getting, I felt like I just was never getting my just due. Like, I just want to be in the front. I want to be the loudest black you've ever seen in your life. I want y'all to give me every single solo. I'm gonna kill it every time. And it wasn't until I worked, I was the stage manager for one of the shows that she's in. I was so happy just to be in the back and truly, like, I didn't feel as much stress. I was like, but I was doing more work. I was actually doing more work.
More work, less pressure.
Right. I loved it. I truly loved it.
The fun is the pressure.
And it gave me the value of how important it is to really be those, like, to be, the legs, so to speak. You know, like, you know, what is on the words? I don't know all scriptures, but you know, being being basically like the legs that sit at like the foot of God, like that we're like so important in every integral piece that we do. You know, we are still the head, even if you know, not the tail. Even if I'm still sitting there.
Somebody needs to be the hands. Somebody needs to be the legs.
Right.
So know your place is not shade. It's just know your place. That's where you belong.
Listen,
it's okay to also venture out. You know,
that's what we needed.
We're not saying that it's not important, but it's the fact that like understand that the work that you do, no matter how small you feel it is still important.
Oh,
you know,
definitely.
Absolutely.
There was something that you said that really stood out to me. It was earlier today. You were speaking about your heroes, your. How did you so pretty put it so eloquently put it?
Let's call them hidden figures.
No,
she said she grew up around Black history, right?
Yeah, and then she said I had modern Black heroes.
Yes, I grew up with modern Black heroes in real time.
In real time, that's what. So I wanted to tap into that because before we ended the segment, I really wanted to go back into that, especially with us talking about them trying to remove Black history, trying to remove all of that. You have modern, real-time Black heroes that are their own Black history makers. So yes, we do need to know our roots, but it goes back to, this is more for the adults than the kids, is that we need to be the Black history for these modern kids. Because if they are removing, which they will succeed, it's unfortunate, but we know they'll succeed, and they'll find a way to remove the history of all Black completely from the books. It's our job to keep that alive, to continue to fight that fight where you have now, thank God for social media, but also thank God not for social media. But because of it, we are able to see a lot more things. We're able to, our eyes are a lot more open. It goes back to where you didn't realize you were protruding racism. Like for instance, I moved to California when I was in 2017. I told Ashton this story. I decided to fully go locks and natural because of what an Ethiopian man said to me. A Black man at a party told me, I don't really like Black women with natural hair because when you jump into the pool, your hair is really nice, but as soon as you come out, your hair looks disgusting.
Oh no.
So from that point forward, so from that, literally that night, I took out all my European weaves out of my hair and I never went back. And it was that aha moment, like, well, a Black man just told me he don't like me. Your mama's Black. Like, how you don't like your mom? Like, so those are the things where it's just like, we have to be our Black history makers, and we have to be the Black history makers for the kids. And you made me start to realize, wow, I do have some really dope in real time modern Black.
For my thesis in college, I really wanted to focus on as I said, in local history. And the biggest question I have written down is why did we stay? That was the question that I was answering in my paper, is like, why did we stay?
You got to do it anywhere else. You're going to do the same thing anywhere else.
Some people didn't even know they were slaves. Some
but I always wondered though, like, why would we stay here? I'm coming home from school every day crying, just mad, like I'm being so mistreated. And my question even in college was like, why did we stay? And what my paper truly answered was, obviously, spirituality and religion was a huge driving force in our communities, but also the cultivation. Like, we built this. Like, why should we have to be pushed out? Why should I have to move to find community? Like, we built this.
My community.
Like, we're watching, the Mount Moore Cemetery. Like, these were Black business owners. These were
your neighbors.
Black farmers.
And they built them all on.
Right. These were Black doctors, pharmacists.
Veterans.
And I know with Mejine's work on the Spark Hill, but Spring Valley Archives, like, we shouldn't have to move away and find community in the places we already have community and have cultivated so much of our livelihoods.
Yeah.
And I think that really goes to show and is really important for us to understand that like the communities that we build and we create, they deserve the longevity that all these other white communities have. Like we deserve that just as much as anybody else does.
Talking about community, can you guys tell us a quick history on Sparksville for those who don't know about it being the her thesis?
So it actually starts back even further in the Tapan Patent, and I believe was it 1687? Yes, so 1687, the Tapan Patent was it was a Dutch settled town. We were obviously here in New York was mainly Dutch settlers, and there were obviously those who were enslaved, and there were actually 3 black people who were considered free at the time and were actually part of the founding of Tapan. Mm-hmm. So what we consider to be old Tapan in New Jersey as well as Tapan here today. Fast forward, 200 years is a very long time, but about 150 years.
3 generations.
For real, right? Right, so basically
my grandmother was in slavery.
Right, so from 1687 to 1806, you have the founding of Skunk Hollow, which included parts of Alpine, New Jersey, Palisades, and Spark Hill. As quiet as it's kept.
They moved the black people out the good parts.
And
Skunk Hollow
small little, Skunk Hollow does sound.
I don't know, but Alpine look pretty.
Alpine,
right? But that was ours. So Alpine from 1806 to actually 1906. Yeah. So Piermont, Spark Hill,
black.
It was literally, and the Dutch left us alone. Like the British had some issues with us, but the Dutch was like, do you, man? Like, leave me alone. This is your spot. So for 100 years, we were pretty much unbothered in this area. And that is something when I going to, Orangeburg, they have like the historic halls and stuff like that.
Nothing.
You don't see that.
Nothing.
You don't see that. They're only talking about the Dutch and they're talking about New City. So mind you, this is at the same time. So New City was actually the area that had the most slaves in the county. But there was this town 15 minutes south that was full of free Negroes. And then you give me the date for the church, pastor, that we use.
So 1865 is the date that we use for the church.
Right. So St. Charles was, church by the creek that, is considered one of the oldest churches in Rockland. And again, it's this push of the religion and spirituality is what kept our communities together this whole time. One of the founding families was still going to our church. Yeah. Yep. And the Williams. Oh, wow. The Williams family was still prevalent even when I was a kid. When I was growing up, the Williams family was still there. So these were generations of families that were still here, especially when you talk about Camp Shanks and World War II. My great-grandfather was from Virginia. My great-grandmother was from Savannah, Georgia. But they found community easily here after the war. So as time goes on over and over, you're seeing what's keeping these people together is this strong sense of spiritual community, as well as this was a place that was founded by black people. And when you talk about the Underground Railroad would not have been what it was if it was not for the stops along the Hudson River here. We talk about Madam C.J. Walker, but there was a woman by the name of Cynthia Hester that lived in Nyack who was considered in her time in the early 1900s as a millionaire. So we're literally in an area that was just booming with black excellence that over time, after World War II and Camp Shanks, you're seeing them be pushed out. And you're seeing them being pushed out into Nyack. And then as we learn more and more about Spring Valley history, they're getting pushed over into Spring Valley. Yeah. So you constantly see where we literally boom and make these major contributions to their community, and we're just getting pushed out more and more and more and more until you put them in the middle of the county. Which do you find that to be? And does anyone find that to be a little coincidental that New City is not that far from Spring Valley? Mm-hmm. And that's where they're being centralized and pushed into.
Until we get squeezed out.
Right, but you follow these things, we were the ones living on the water, right? Like for a lot of people, it wasn't considered to be,
swampland. It was uninhabitable.
Right, it wasn't considered to be beautiful.
They actually told the church not to buy the land
because it was swampy. It was wet.
Where we're at, they told us not to buy that land, and but it was a black community.
Right.
And that's why when people come in now, how did this church get there? Well, we were here. We've been here. You're just finding us. And so she's right. We've been here for a long time in these areas, and we've seen that. For me as a pastor of the church, I've seen the transition where now most of my members don't come from Spark Hill. They're from outside of Spark Hill.
Well, not too many people even know it exists.
Well, no, they don't know. I mean, I had to tell people the steakhouse. People know where.
That's how I know. That's how I noticed. I was like, oh, what's this?
Like, as we talked about with my family, it's 4 generations from there. The Bullocks, these are generations of people staying here for such a long time, and it's really funny too when you look at, I went to school in Tappan Zee High School, and I'm looking through the yearbooks, and they're the same names. They're the same generational names over and over and over.
The third.
You know what I mean? So, and also, like, Nyack and TZ at one point were actually one. So, Nyack, Piermont, and South Orangetown were all going to the same school. And the majority, again, historically speaking, the majority of the black people at the time were in Nyack. They were in Nyack. And again, this was a place that without Nyack, I gotta make that very clear, without Skunk Hollow, without Nyack, the Underground Railroad would not have been successful as we think of it today. These were literal stops on the Underground Road. Cynthia Hestra was a free black woman, a millionaire who was housing these enslaved people in her home. She owned properties throughout Nyack. She owned properties throughout New York City. So she was literally, basically, how people talk about, the Holocaust and Anne Frank and the fact that, all these different Jewish people are allowed to stay in these different lodgings. Like, she was single-handedly doing this and housing people to their freedom, and these are things that we don't talk about.
We don't know.
And and if you don't,
I'm learning. I'm in class.
The great thing is there are these great plaques. How we have our historical plaques, and they're there, but you just zoom right on by them.
But
and how many of us read now?
Well, none of them. We have to have that, and I've been thinking about doing this at the church. But it's having these times to have history lessons, because even our own people don't know their history.
So just what our podcast is for.
Yeah.
Amen.
But having opportunities to teach history, again, for everybody to understand, and even for us, because again, it's a sense of pride. When you learn about the people that have come before you and you learn their story, it gives you a sense of pride. It helps you to be able to motivate yourself to do more. And so I think that, here in Nakai, it is encouraging to think about having these kind of conversations. And you all say, well, I didn't know about that.
Oh, we're going to bring you guys back.
Y'all coming back for sure.
I want to shout out that this Black History Month, Medellin is doing a Spring Valley archival. I am literally learning as I'm there. Like, there's always more to learn.
Oh,
I focused most of my research. I did throughout Rockland, but I focused mainly on Spark Hill, and there's so much rich history in Spring Valley.
Yes.
So I think it's really important to really push ourselves to, as you're saying, like, really cultivate these conversations and really, like, stay informed about what's going on. I think sometimes we're really, I'm the first one to be like that's not going on, and my friend, my accountability bestie, will call me out and be like, actually,
yes it is.
Yes it is, and we're doing this, and this, and there are so many things that I don't know are going on in Haverstraw, or going on in Spring Valley, or things going on at the church, or there's just, we have to really stay, and this is why, we talk about, like, relationships and collaborating and having these conversations, because they are happening. We are doing them. We just have to really stay tapped in with each other.
Before we wrap up, I can definitely say that we, as our generation, are doing that, and if we continue to do it, the younger generation.
Absolutely.
I'm really focused on the people after me, because at this point, I'm like, I want to learn, absorb, spew out.
Absolutely.
And then be able to spew out correctly, because the stuff that I learned when I was younger, oh my God. If I could relearn everything I learned 30 years ago, I'd probably be in a different planet. I'd be the first black woman president. I know that for a fact.
I'd be happy. My parents would be happily retired.
Yeah, it would be a whole different
if y'all taught us how to take care of you, y'all would be okay.
You would be. See, and I told my mom that the other day. But before we wrap up, do you guys have any initiatives, anything that's going on that you want the world to know, want our viewers, our Rockland viewers to know, or something that we should follow or find a way to collaborate with the both of you guys?
Let you start.
Well, as I said, I'm really, really passionate about this archival project that Majine's working on. I'm so happy to be a part of it. And yet anything that has to do with any sort of intersectional with blackness, I'm there. So I guess the best way to reach me is Nykia, that's NYKIASR28@gmail.com. And I'm always looking for as many projects to put myself into that have to do with Black local history or anything to do with Black queer identity. At the Rockland Pride Center, which is also a place that I collaborate with quite often, they're going to be offering voguing and ballroom classes.
I'm doing that.
Right, so if you're really passionate about learning more about Black queer history specifically, they're going to be offering that once a month at the Rockland Pride Center. Always going to be Spark Hill forever till I die. And always putting St. Charles on.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, I call myself a community pastor, so you ain't gotta come to church. You're gonna find me wherever something's going on.
It's true. It is true.
You're gonna find me where something's going on. I try to make my way out there to support. And so for me, if you're trying to do collaborations, anybody in Rockland County trying to collaborate to make something happen, meaningful ones, where we're investing in the community, I look forward to doing those kind of partnerships in the future. And like I said, you'll find me anywhere in Rockland County where there's people who need help and people who are helping. I do think one of the things initiative that I'm trying to do, and I've been putting this out and I'll continue to put it out, is to try to bring all of our Black organizations in Rockland County together. To try for us to really have conversation. So that's something that I'm going to be working on in this coming year. Hopefully 2024 is when we have this. And so look forward to having y'all, of course.
Don't worry, we got work for y'all too. So
that 2024 platinum nugget is collaborate.
Collaborate.
Passing the Rockland with the word of the year.
You did a good job with that speech.
That's it. I mean, that's again, my job is to push this community, to help us to all galvanize. We got work to do. And I just want to be a part of it, from the front of the back.
I got work for you to do too.
We definitely got a lot of work to do. So we want y'all to tap in with us and let us know what it is that we can get involved with and work together. Please don't just drop it on our plate.
Yes.
We got 30 plates, so we gotta eat this food together.
And so, just want to tap into Majin. She definitely does a lot of the history of Spring Valley.
Spring Valley Stories. Right on Instagram.
Rockland Diaspora, with the Diaspora, like
Beyond the Wall.
Anything that has to do with the culture and the history of Spring Valley. Girl, Majin. Yeah, Majin, you have to see her for sure. She's not part of our team, so that's another thing. Don't worry, we got work for you guys too. So let's get into this current events. So this is the part of our segment where we tap into all of old events that happened already, and then we're gonna tap into any new events that are coming up. Do you guys have any events that we should be aware of? What are your service dates and times for those who don't have a church home?
Oh, absolutely. Sunday morning at 11 a.m. you can come see us with the Church by the Creek. And, we look forward to having you at St. Charles Ames Zion Church, 432 Valentine Avenue, Spark Hill, New York.
Oh, Valentine Avenue, that's a nice address.
Yeah, it's a lot of love on that street.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. Is our tech guy ready for current of the weeks? Not yet? Oh, okay, so
you actually have an event that's coming up as well.
Please
tell us. So for Kansas, for any high schoolers out there, for anyone who knows any high schoolers, we throw a youth empowerment retreat that is for anyone who identifies with LGBTQ or is also an ally. It is really just about bringing any and all high schoolers together. It is not just a specific event. It is meant for anyone in high school, so age 14 to 18, or we don't discriminate if you're still in high school. It is open to all high school age students in Rockland County and the surrounding areas. It is a youth empowerment retreat, so we have workshops all day on Saturday. We have open mics, creative outlets. I will be doing a workshop there. Meji will be doing an Art as Resistance workshop. I'll be talking about advocacy, a little bit about queer history. We also have roundtables where people can have really in-depth conversations about things going on in their community. So it is a 3-day retreat. It is called Common Threads. You can look it up on the Candle website, so that's candlerockland.org, and you just click on Common Threads. So we really want to get as many kids involved as possible to understand that you do have a place in this county and that we hear you, we see you, and that we are safe space.
Dope. So if you have any upcoming events, any projects, anybody you'd like to collaborate with, anything like that, please get in contact with us. Please get in contact with St. Charles. Please get in contact with Candle. Let us know.
Meet Next Gen.
We got
a lot
Spring
going
Valley
on with Meet Next Gen this year. I'm so excited.
We got a lot planned going on, and the Young Adult Committee, the Media Committee, and the PAL. We are all ready to attack Rockland this year, and we're gonna make some impactful change.
Oh, there's some real changes. Yes. So I'm excited. 2024. All right, video guy, are we ready, my tech? And then here's our current events.
Not in our hands. It's in God's way. Don't know where we're headed on this road. Not in our hands. It's in God's way. I know what He's done for me. Too many are dead and gone, but you're still sparing me. Tell me why envy me. Lord, I pray you defend me from my enemy.
Everybody so much for awarding us amazing achievement based on behalf of just the sacrifice we're willing to make for the community to make it a better place. Mr. Rockland, he always reminds us that we are standing on the shoulders of giants. I want to say thank you all so much because you are the shoulders that we've been standing on. We are a committee that is very ready to make action. We work extremely hard and we don't break promises. If you want to work together, we are more than happy to collaborate. We have multiple committees with multiple chairs, with people who have the biggest hearts that you've ever imagined, who see what's going on in Rockland, but most importantly, want to do something about it and are actively doing something about it every single day.
Yeah. I'm back in, I'm back on. Stand up like backbone. I'm beast mode, I'm so strong. Go hard or go on. No stopping, I can't stop. I will not lose. I'ma always win.
This is my year. I'm gonna be great. You cannot stop me. No one can stop me. This is my year. I'm gonna be great. You cannot stop me. No one can stop me. Are you ready? I'm ready. Are you ready?
What enrages me, and we've spoken on it, because we have a youth council, and one of the outrages for them is the mere fact that they don't have the opportunity, and it's not an option for them in AP courses. When our students are reaching out to become smarter, to become more educational, and I don't hear it discussed at a meeting, that's disgusting. We are back to separate but equal. We're back to that spirit. There is no difference in this East Ramapo district. School district is approximately 90% people of color. That's no different when I went to school in the South. So the treatment, the resources, I expect should be equally distributed, and I don't feel that. And our kids don't feel that.
And that was our current events.
No, we did a lot.
We normally have a lot more where the video's like 10 minutes long of all recap. We're starting the year off.
It's just January, right?
Yeah, it's just
only January.
Yeah.
We in February now.
We in February.
I know, but that's still a long video.
Oh, y'all was
that was a lot of bullet points.
It wasn't that much. But we definitely want to thank our guests today. This was an impactful conversation. Despite we had video technical difficulties, but we did have the audio fixed. Now we got the audio fixed. Now we got the video.
Shout out.
Season 2 audio. Woody, thank you as always. He is the man that handles the camera, the computer, all of the above. Can y'all come help Woody, please? We need some volunteers.
Definitely.
Let's touch on that real quick. So if you guys come and help us on the show, there are some great perks. Oh, and the camera goes out, but we're going to do with the audio. There are some great perks, and this is why we need you guys. If you come and help out on the show, you not only get experience that you can add to your resume, you can also get an internship and get paid real money and work on real production sets with Talat. So our director for the community center comes from the world of television. He actually owns a production studio in Newburgh, and he's working right now and getting syndicated. For those who know what that means they could get broadcast all over the world. Getting syndicated for different networks and streaming channels. So yes, Just the Thought podcast is his little baby that he's been working with us, our baby as well. But we have been helping him build the set, build the community center to make it more of a production house. So we need more hands on deck.
So we could bring this podcast to you.
Yes, and we can bring more of this podcast.
Get you guys trained.
Get you trained. Get your own show. There's a lot that goes into putting on a podcast. It's not just putting up a camera.
If you're looking for an influencer, to be an influencer, we looking for you.
Yeah, all of the above. I don't mind being behind the camera. I'm used to being in front of the camera all the time. I'm okay with being behind, as you guys know. I'm good with the technical stuff. But we are looking for students. Our tech guys are 18, 19, 21 and 19. So we're actually they're students, and they're adding this to their resume, and Woody can put a whole lot of stuff on his resume. But there's definitely opportunity here.
You get to work with 2 top-notch organizations, the NAACP and the PAL. So
3 Ambient Next Gen. Right? But no, seriously, we're looking for you guys. So please come out. If you're looking for us, we're looking for you. Simple as that. Let's close out the show. We've been here for a while. Thank you to our amazing guest, Reverend Dr. McLaughlin, and then Nakaya. All right. So listen, I'm learning. I too had a speech impediment. I didn't know, which I want to tell you. I didn't know until somebody else saw me say hi to them in the hallway in school when I was in the 5th grade. And it was wait, what you say? I was oh, I'm a Declan. And she was oh no, girl, you're gonna have to come to my house. I was oh no. But it works out. It's you're a whole pastor, dyslexia, you gotta read the Bible all day. Come on.
I didn't think about that one.
God called me still. I was
no audio books.
So there's a gift. Everyone has a gift. You may not think it's a gift, but it's a gift. Sometimes your most challenges are actually the gift that God has given you. I know we're getting spiritual, we're not allowed to. But that is what I really wanted to end the show. Do you, co-hosts, have anything to say?
That's my thoughts.
Thank you for joining us on the first episode. Remember, we air every first Monday of the month. Also, thank you to our sponsor, Pre-Show Dinner.
Santiago.
Yes, we are still looking for more sponsors. So if you want to sponsor the show, please contact us. We will promote you. That is what my specialty is. But as always, thank you again. Tune in, subscribe, follow, watch us on YouTube and follow.
Instagram, tag us.
Everything. All of the above. Trust me, we're looking for you, so look for us.
And we're coming to you soon, so if you got an event going on or whatever the case is, check us out. We will be there soon. So dial in, tell us when your event is, and hopefully, we'll be at your event.
And that's it.